Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Laravel News Creator Spotlight Series. With me today is none other than Zuzana from Europe. I'm trying to think. You're in the UK, right?
I am in the UK, yes.
yes. Creator of Larabelles, conference speaker, horse rider,
Yeah.
and all around awesome person. So, welcome
Oh,
to the
thank
show,
you.
Zuzana.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, for sure. So let's start with the conference speaking because I got to see you at Laravel Live London last year, but I know from
hmm
there you've done Laracon EU. Did you do Australia? Cannot
No,
remember
not
all the ones you've been
Australia.
to.
I've been to Nashville, so I did Laracon US in Nashville. I did Laracon EU in Lisbon and then in Amsterdam this year, and Laravel Live twice. So last year and then the year before that.
That's awesome. And in part of my intro, I totally blanked and did not include you were also a co-host of the Cheese and Weather podcast with some
Yeah, the
awesome
most
people.
important. Yes, thank you. We must not forget that.
That's right. I was a guest on there. Y'all invited me on one time after we had
Yes.
um what did we do? We had breakfast in Nashville before at the Laracon. And so we
Yeah.
got to go in there and talk about all the southern food that you
Food.
got to consume.
It was what an experience. Yeah, I was just talking to somebody about American food, and that breakfast is actually one of my highlights because it was mostly good. Not for the grit. Is that what it's called? Grit
Yeah,
was
the
just
grits.
that did not taste of anything. That wasn't great. But other than that, it was really good. So
Yes,
thank you
and
for having me for breakfast. It was really nice. It's like I was leaving the hotel and people asking where you going. I said, oh, I'm having breakfast somewhere else. So cool. It was really nice. And I took Uber. I did, yeah. I took Uber to have breakfast. I felt really special. So thank you.
that's awesome. And when I went to Laravel Live London, I got to get introduced to bangers and mash, which was it was better than I was assuming it would be. Um,
Yeah, the name is misleading. It's actually quite. It's not what you would expect. I don't know. What did you expect, actually?
that's I honestly don't know. Like the mash, I could see mashed potatoes, but the banger
Yeah,
part was because I'm trying to remember now. It was like some sort of sausage thing or something, right?
and
And
butter. Yeah,
yeah, it was
I
it was
think
kind of
so.
weird,
Is it
but
with a
it was okay.
gravy? I don't even think I ever had it, by the way. I don't think I ever had
Mm.
it. I know what it tastes, but I've never tasted it. But I've tasted the ingredients separately, so I have a good idea what it tastes like. But yeah.
That's good. And so I guess let's go back to the Larabelles. Like, so
Yes.
when did you start Larabelles? It's been a while, right?
I think it's going to be 5 years now, coming up in June or July. I think July. I'll need to look it up. Oh, I should have looked it up. I don't actually know, but it's it's almost 5 years, I think. Yeah, and it
Yeah,
was unintended. Really, I had no idea what was gonna like. I didn't plan any of this. I had that idea for a community for a while. I think over a year, and I remember asking on Twitter that year ago before I launched. Is there a community for women in Laravel? And I had like 300 followers back then, and most of them bots. Like nobody really followed me. And somebody replied saying, "No, why don't you create one?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, right, okay." And I didn't, but it was always at the back of my mind, and I didn't do anything. I waited for somebody else to do it because I never wanted to found anything. Like I never thought I could. How do you even do that? Like, I had no idea. And so nothing happened. And then I was talking to some friends. I just mentioned that the idea that I had, like, oh, the community for women, it would be so fun. And I said, well, do it. I was like, really? I said, yeah. How hard can it be? I said, okay. So I just created one page website. I think I did it in Jigsaw. It was really not that great on one page website. And just without any thinking, planning, I just posted on Twitter. And yeah, it took off. That day was such a crazy, weird day that suddenly people that I knew and respected backed me up. People that I didn't know backed me up. Some people didn't like it, but so many people stood up for me for the idea. It was unbelievable. I still can't believe it sometimes. Like that one day, and it all takes, Twitter. Like if you miss that tweet, it's gone forever, and like, there doesn't seem to be any you know, when sometimes you open Twitter, you see something interesting, and before you know it, before you follow it up, it's gone, and you can never find it again because you forgot to look at who posted it or who retweeted it. You just have no idea. So I have expected, like, I was like, if I get some likes, it would be nice, you know, maybe a retweet or two. But it just went crazy, that initial tweet. I don't even know. I should look it up. I don't even know how many people commented and liked and retweeted it back then. But
That's
yeah.
awesome. Well, so I think we sort of skipped over, but for the people that don't know, give us a
Oh, yeah.
little like overview of what Larabelles is.
So Larabelles is a community for women or anyone who doesn't identify as a man, Laravel PHP developers. And the reason for this community was that when I started learning development, I came into this industry quite later on in life, I guess. Like, I'm not one of those kids that had a computer from early on and internet. I had no idea about any of this. I didn't care. I didn't know technology. I wasn't interested. But when I started learning, there were a few communities that I accidentally joined at the beginning. So there was something on Facebook. Then there was a community called Moms Can Code that doesn't exist anymore. But it was just so nice to be part of something smaller, because the internet is a massive place and it feels scary. Like, if you're learning something new, you don't know anyone, you don't have anyone to ask. So all you can do is like join some random forum and hope that somebody will answer you if you have a question, and hope that this person is going to be nice. So it's scary. And especially when, like, Stack Overflow, for example, the questions there were so over my head. I was like, I don't understand what these people are talking about. And here I'm asking, like, how do you do something in HTML? Because I didn't know and I had nobody. So when I then joined, I don't even know how I found, probably on Facebook, because back then a lot of those groups were on Facebook. So when I joined this Moms Can Code, it was so nice. It was much smaller community, and I felt like I was understood because we had mostly the same like lives, like problems. I don't want to say problems, but, you know, responsibilities in life, like with kids, how, you know, you can't just go to conferences or you can't sit down the whole day and learn something. Learning was happening in those bite-sized chunks whenever you can. And it was nice to be understood, and it was nice to feel part of something. So, but Moms Can Code was like a general development community. And when I started learning Laravel, I was like, and there was PHP. Well, I didn't know about PHP women, but before Laravel, I was part of the WordPress community, and I saw a lot of women there. I don't think there is a community specifically for women in WordPress, but the community in general was so diverse, because in WordPress, there's such a vast amount of things you can do. You can be as technical as you want, and you don't have to be technical at all. You can just install and customize themes, and that's a job in WordPress. Or you can build themes. Or you can, you know, do so much. So there was a much wider, like, variety of things people could do, and therefore many more people there. So in WordPress, I never felt like I was out of place, because there was always somebody like me in some way. But when I started learning Laravel, I didn't know anyone. Like, everything I saw online, everyone I saw online were men. And I was like, that's so weird. Like, because in WordPress there are lots of women. I was like, what's going on? So that's when I asked the question, where are the women? Is there a community? And people said, nope. Why don't you create one? So I did that. And really the only reason was to meet friends. Like, I wanted a place where people could get together and feel like they're not alone, how I felt when I was part of the Moms Can Code community. Because it was all just like, I remember we had few calls. It was very, you know, not official, like informal. It was just people getting together. And that was enough for me. That made me feel like I can do it. Other people are doing it, I can do it too. So I wanted that for Larabelles. That's why I found Larabelles.
I love that. Which, you know, speaking of the phone calls, are y'all still regularly meeting up and sort of hanging out? Like,
No, the
or
Moms Can
is
Code community, that
no,
fell
no,
apart.
Larabelles itself?
Larabelles, yes. Well, I think I personally have met a lot of friends, made lots of friends through Larabelles. So yes, I am in touch with many people, and I hope it's the case for our other members, because I think it's important, not only for the having somebody to ask if you have a problem, but only just talk about life. And eventually you will build those friendships. Like, it might have started because of work or because of technology, but if you keep in touch with people, I can now say I've got friends in the Larabelles community, and not just because of what we do. We met because of what we do, or thanks to what we do, but now we're not friends because of that anymore. And that's very nice because like we all need more friends, right? And it's so nice you
Absolutely,
meet
yeah.
people from all over the world, and your horizons expand and you learn new things. I love it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. Well, have you ever thought about doing like a Larabelles conference or like meetup? Or is
I
it because
have.
everybody's so spread out, it's probably pretty hard to actually come together in person outside of a
Yeah.
normal conference?
I thought about it and I have been asked to organize something, but there is so few of us at the moment. And like you said, we are so spread out. I
Hmm.
think it's not the time yet. I hope eventually it will be. But right now, even when you think of a conference like Laracon, there are, I don't know, 900 people. And from there, we get maybe 20 Larabelles on stage, which is lovely. It's more than it was before, but if you wanted to do a meetup, it would be such a struggle to get people to the same place. And like if companies, for example, send people to a conference, is one thing because it's a conference, a learning opportunity. I don't see companies sending people to a Larabelles meetup just yet. Maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I do love that. I love everything you've been doing as far as like sort of like spearheading this, just jumping right in and getting it all going.
Thank
I
you.
love that. Not only are you creating this little community, but on the website you have like a directory. So once you
Hmm.
join, I'm assuming you're just sort of like in this group at that point, right? Like, are y'all doing like
Yeah.
Slack or anything or Discord or
We have a
being able to?
Discord. Yeah, we've got a Discord
Yeah.
channel. We've got a newsletter, but it's the Discord where most of the conversations happens, the not informal ones.
Right. Right.
The directory is the idea behind that was I saw something similar on one of the I can't remember which one it was. Maybe it could have been there are other communities for like Pi girls and Django girls. I don't
Hmm.
know, but I saw it on one of those websites where they had like stories of their like members when they would say where they came from, what they used to do before tech, if anything else. And so they had like a short bio and a few things about them. And I really liked it because when I was starting out, these stories were really important to me because then I saw, oh, look, this person. So I've got a degree in psychology. And then I saw someone, oh, this person also has a degree in psychology and they made a transition to tech. So I can do it. It's not so weird. Oh, there was a person who's a mom with 3 kids. I was like, oh, I'm a mom with 3 kids. So I just read so many stories of people I could relate to. And that made me believe like I could do it. And I wanted that to be partly why we had the directory. People don't necessarily share too much about themselves, but now the directory, the point of it is that if people say, oh, we don't know any
Right.
non-male Laravel developers, you can say, well, actually, there's this directory. I know we currently have 62, 63 people, which isn't a huge amount, but it's so many more than what it was at the beginning. Like when I started Larables, I knew of 2 people I knew about. I didn't know them or never talked to them. Jess Archer and Samantha Geitz. Those 2 women I knew of. And that was it. And now, thanks to Larables, there's like a list of people. And some of them are not even on directory yet, hopefully soon.
Okay.
So it's just, yeah, so now we can tell people, yeah, we exist. We are here. And if you have a conference and you want to have a diverse speaker lineup, there's this whole list of people you can contact. You can't say
Yeah.
anymore that there is nobody, you don't know anybody. There is a list
Yeah.
of people, or for jobs as well. If people are like, oh, we want to have diverse teams, but we don't get people to apply. I said, well, maybe you need to reach out to people. Don't expect everyone to come to you. I know it's more work reaching out to people, but if you want to have a diverse team, maybe you need to put the work in a little bit. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I love that, and those are all awesome reasons to have a like a little directory like that too. And I was thinking of like even local meetups we go to. I think the last 2 were PHP meetups, and
Hmm.
both of them had women there that were I don't think were a part of Larabelles. I need to do better about getting some
Telling
stickers and cards and
people.
handing them out when I see
Oh,
people too, so that way we
thank
can
you.
we can continue to grow the whole ecosystem
Yes.
around all this.
Because it's
What
interesting. Every time I go to a conference, and there are so many people that never heard of us. And to me, it's like, how have you not heard of us? Like, that's all I ever talk about to the point that I annoy myself. I'm like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. But then I go to a conference, like in Amsterdam, I met a few people who were like, we never heard of Larabelles. Who are you guys? I was like, how have you not? So we do need to, even though to me it feels like everyone must know, because I live in my little bubble, you know. But we just need to talk to people more. So every time people ask, what can we do? Well, what can we do to help you? I just say, talk about us. Tell people that we exist. That's the biggest and simplest thing anyone can do. Just spread the word.
Yeah, that's true. It is sort of amazing. Like, me with Laravel News, I've been doing this for, man, like 12 years now. And there will still be people, like, I'll meet at conferences, they'll have no idea what Laravel News is. I'm like, we've been here forever. Why don't you know? It's like, how do I do better at this?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's the thing is, like, we don't even have any online space anymore. Like, it used to be Twitter. Twitter got really, people left, move on. Some stayed, some left totally. So at least it used to be Twitter as a place when you could communicate message to other people. Now we don't have that. Now we've got lots of little places. And not everyone is even online like that. Not everyone is on Twitter anymore, or have been, or Blue Sky. Like, how do we tell people that we exist? You and me, like, it cannot be just Twitter audience, because that's such a small fraction of the developers or the people that we are trying to reach. So there must be a better way to reach people beyond social media. And I think once I find it, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Because that's sort of where I was thinking too, is like, if, like you said, everybody, like in the beginning, everybody just was on Twitter or whatever. And, we would talk and communicate. And really the community was sort of small back then, many years ago. And then as it's grown, it's just like, you just can't keep up with it anymore, because there's like even if you follow like the Laravel, like a search or something, it's just all the stuff's coming across. And then now everything's fractured. So it's really hard to, have all these connections that we've made over the years. And then some people are just like, they just go to work, do their Laravel work, go home, and that's it. They're not on social media. So it's definitely interesting how everything is so fractured at this point right now in time.
It is. It's a shame, because it's not that I'm for Twitter. I am hardly there these days anymore. I don't really like the place anymore. It's changed. The content, forget the leadership, but even the content, I get so much spam, and it's just not fun to be on it anymore. But the people that don't know about us, I think of all the things they are missing out on, not only from educational perspective, like the articles that you post, or from the social perspective, like being part of a community like Larabelles or Laravel in general. And I know not everyone is into it. Some people do it just because it's their job, and that's fair enough. Good for them, actually. They have some sort of work-life balance, which I don't. I don't know about you. But it was just, I'm sure there are people that would love to be part of what we have created, and we just need to find a way to reach them somehow.
For sure. And that sort of brings me to another question too, is like, if people, like, what do you need help wise, as far as like from people, that is a man in the community, that maybe they can give back and help, and help grow all this the Larabelles community, basically.
Yeah, talk about us. Like I said, spread the word. And also, I think the thing with diversity is that it benefits everyone. And I don't want Larabelles to be just for the rest of us, that the men will do their own thing and Larabelles is for the rest of us. I don't think that won't do the job. I think diversity helps everyone. It benefits everyone. I've read this research where it says that diverse teams are much more profitable than non-diverse teams. That means that diversity is not just a social or moral issue. It's a business advantage, and I don't think people realize that. And I think so we need to educate people. I don't mean educate like from arrogant perspective. Well, I'm going to educate you now. You listen to me. That's not the point. But I want people to know that having communities like Larabelles, it benefits everyone. It doesn't just benefit Larabelles. It benefits the whole Laravel community in general, and globally tech industry, because tech is a male-dominated field, and I think we are missing out on a lot of talent that we either never get or we had and then we lose, because being a woman in tech is not always easy. And men, because you are the main part of the tech community, you have to do a lot of the work too, like it would be nice, you know, if you are on our side, if you, for example, work at a company and you are hiring, try to encourage whoever's doing the hiring that look beyond the people that apply immediately. Or when you are writing those ads, you know, job descriptions, it's quite a well-known thing that men will, they tend to apply for a job when they are meeting like half of the requirements, while women, they will probably hesitate until they meet at least most of them. Don't know why it is, but it's a thing. So maybe now I've read quite a few job descriptions that say like, this is the list of things, but don't be put off. If you don't know all of them, please don't let that stop you from from approaching us. And I think even that, it's like a one sentence, makes such a difference for people then thinking, okay, I'll apply, I'll see what happens, what have I got to lose? So little things like that, like, so with hiring, because also I think a problem we have in tech is that we don't have many role models at all, really, female role models or non-white man role models. Okay, this is going to sound like I'm really against white. I'm not. I don't know how to phrase it, so I don't come out like, you know, I am not. I'm just. I'm trying to be politically correct, but it's not about being politically correct. It's not that I appreciate everyone, you know, it's nobody's fault, really. I don't want to point fingers. I'm just trying to change things, or at least, you know, try to drive some sort of change. And yeah, partly is that since you are the major voice, we need your voice to speak for us sometimes, you know, or at least give us the chance, give us the platform to speak. Because a lot of the time, I think partly why some people might struggle being heard is because they have no way to be heard. And that's another reason, like Larabelles, I'm hoping to give platform so that the people's voices are heard more than if you are in a conference with 1,000 people. And so from the Laravel report, or like, you know, it was done based on a couple of surveys that Laravel developers are like 96% men and 4% the other. So if you think of it, like you've got 1,000 people at a conference, you'll have like, you know, 960 men and maybe 40 women or people who don't identify as men. And sometimes it's hard to be heard because simply for the numbers, you know, it's just difficult. So yeah, what can people do for us? Talk about us, and let's talk about diversity, especially lately. It seems like it's like a dirty word, diversity, or like everything. Let's blame everything on diversity. It's just stupid. You know, diversity is not to be blamed for anything. And we need to make it more, you know, people be more interested, and not to think of it, oh, that's a political issue. I mean, we don't do politics. It's not a political issue. It's a human issue, you know, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, even my stats, like if I go to like the Laravel News YouTube, it's like 99% men and like 1% women watch my videos. It's like, we need this.
What's going
That's
on?
definitely way too one-sided here.
Yeah.
So,
I started talking about like the lack of role models, and that's what I'm saying. Like if people don't see people like them in a public eye, and when I say people like me, you can interpret it in any way you like. It could be a woman, it could be a mother, it could be a Muslim, it could be a white person, a black person, like anything you can relate to. It could be your background. Like I said, I've got a degree in psychology. Maybe somebody, you know, can relate to that part of me. But if we don't see people like us in one way or another, it's much harder to believe that we belong. So I think we need to have more female, or not necessarily female, but non-white male role models. That sounds so horrible. But when you think about it, like all the major tech players are guys, you know, not the Laravel community, even the broad tech community. Like you see guys everywhere. So, and I'm not blaming the guys. I'm just saying we need more women in those positions so that other women can feel like, oh, I can do that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, and it's funny how like certain industries sort of are driven that way. You know, like I think of like nursing, you know, is going to be primarily women, and then there's a few male nurses, or even here in America, it seems like dental hygienists are all women, and then there like might be one male hygienist, something like that. And it's
so interesting.
It's funny how it's like everybody like isolates in these different little jobs that they want, I guess. I don't know.
And I don't see why wouldn't there be more male nurses? Like, what is it about nursing that shouts out, oh, we are, you know, women? Why? Like, there is nothing that a man can't do that a woman would do. Same with like a hygienist or anyone. Like, I I'm sure there are some jobs that like you probably like one gender might find it easier than other, but the majority of jobs, like men and women, can do equally the same job. So why is it that just some industries tend to be more male or female dominated? I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting. Of course, I have no degree in any of this stuff, so I'm just speaking from the top of my mind on, on what I'm thinking.
Fair enough. It's a good question to ask ourselves, and also like, what can we do about it? Because specifically with tech, like the reason I am so for women like me or parents like me to go into tech is because how many other jobs can you do while you work around the kids? Well, that's the reason why I went into tech, because like I said, I wasn't into tech before. In fact, I had other than my degree, I had other career. But then when I had my kids, specifically the last one, the third one, I was like, I can't work and be there for my kids. It's just not possible. I can't do it. One of them will have to go. And even though before I had the third one, I was working at a school, which you would think, oh, you know, you get holidays and you only work during term time and the hours are okay. Well, yeah, but then I spent the day at school and then I came home. I had no patience left for my own kids. Like, I couldn't do it. So it was just so hard. So that's why I decided, I went looking for a job. What can I do while being at home with my kids or being there with my kids? And development kept coming up. And it was like, oh, why don't you learn web design and web development? And I had no idea those two things were different at first. And I was like, well. And I did. And luckily, I like it. But if I often do the best things that I do are quite spontaneous. Larabelles was very spontaneous, and me learning development was quite spontaneous. If I spent any time researching it, I don't know if I would have gone into it, because if I looked into statistics and saw that most of developers are men, I would definitely ask myself, is it a job for me? I don't know. So I'm glad that I went into it blindly, because then I didn't meet any developers in real life for a couple of years at least, that I was just learning from home, because I'm worried that if I did, maybe I wouldn't have continued, maybe I wouldn't have persisted. So
Very true.
Yeah, that's why I'm so for, like, I keep preaching to my friends, you know, those that have to work long hours and then they go home and they have to work even longer hours at home. And I tell them, just learn development. You know, anyone can do it. I did it. You can do it. And they're like, oh, but we're not technical. I said, well, I was never technical. And I think it's such a good job because it's flexible. Most of the jobs are. Let's not talk about like the big companies, corporate companies that probably are not that flexible. But most of the jobs can be pretty flexible, you know, especially if you work freelance or even from companies. I think this is one of the industries where actually you can have it all. Although I know it's a dangerous thing to say, but you can work and you can be there for your kids. And I think it's easier in this industry and many others. So I think for parents specifically, it's a really good job to have from my perspective. So, yeah.
I totally agree. I don't want to change the subject too much, but you said you like to do things on a whim. So that brings me to my personal question. How did you get into horses?
Oh, horses are my love. Horses, I don't know. I think I was born a horse person. Ever since I was little, I just remember if I saw a horse, I would stand still and just stare at the horse until it went by. I even remember long before I learned to ride. I learned to ride when I started going to stables about 11, 12, that age. But even long before, because I live in a village, and in that village, I grew up in a village. And in that village, there was a man who had 2 working horses, so heavy horses. But he also had some girls who went to ride those horses. But I didn't know anything. But sometimes I saw them riding, and I would follow them on foot through the woods, like a shadow, like this little weirdo, just following them from a safe distance so they don't talk to me. I wouldn't want them to talk to me. Just to be close to the horses. Honestly, that was all or sometimes to smell them. that was all I wanted. Such a weirdo. And then eventually I learned to ride, but then, life happened and school happened mainly, school and life. And then I didn't ride for, 20 odd years. And then and thanks to working in tech actually, because once I started working and earning some good money, I could actually afford to go and have some lessons, because having horse, I don't know about the US, but in the UK, it's an expensive hobby to have. Like horses
It
are
is
not
here
cheap.
too.
So I couldn't, for a while, although I kept thinking about, I would like to go and have some lessons again to remind myself. I didn't go because it was too expensive. But then I had a job and I had the time, flexibility, see, and the tax salary. It all came together. And I went to have a few lessons, and it was just, once you learn to ride a bike, you never forget it. And once I sat back on that horse, I was like, I'm back home. It felt like coming home. And then I found this group of people who, so currently I'm a part of, there's I think 14 of us who co-own 4 horses. So we have 4 horses together. And that's the perfect. I wouldn't want to own my own horse, because that's way too much money and way too much responsibility and time commitment. But because there is 14 of us, we share the responsibilities and we share the costs. So that's perfect for me. And yeah, horses is just one of these. Well, what is the golf to you? It's just
it's just great. It's
the
fun.
thing. Yeah. I don't know about golf. Golf is not fun to me. But
well, that's like horses. It's like all I see is expense and this thing I have to take care of for the rest of its life. And it's like, no, I don't want any part of that. I'm more of a hobby horse guy. Like if I had me one of those little fake ones that I could run around, I could afford that. I could put it up when I didn't want to jump my little hurdles.
Yeah, horses. It's just. And I think partly because they can kill you, like they're big animals, so I'm not going to pretend that they're dangerous. It's the thing that you do something potentially dangerous, but not totally. It's not like I'm jumping off mountains or stuff, I'm just riding a horse. And a lot of the time, most of the time, I'm in control. But still, it's a big animal, and you never know. Like if the horse decides to spook, there's very little you can do. Just hold on, try to stay on. Yeah. And I think it's the feeling of going fast, the adrenaline. Why do people jump out of aeroplanes? I think for that feeling that for that moment in time, you feel like you could die, but then you don't. And it's such a good feeling. So then you go back for some more. But yeah, horses.
Yeah, it's kind of like a motorcycle, really. Like, if you ride a motorcycle, it's like so freeing and fun. And to me, like you are in control. Like the motorcycle's not going to do anything that you didn't tell it to do, like a horse. And you don't have to.
However, there are potholes and rocks.
You do have some potholes. But all you have to do is give them gas, and you can put them in the shed and then leave them for 10 years and not think about them and then bring them back out, where you can't really do that with a horse.
Yeah, but the horse, they listen to and they understand. And the thing with horses, I don't know about motorcycles, but with horses, when you sit on a horse, that's, to me, is the most mindful activity I can possibly do. Because once you don't pay attention to the horse, it will sense it. It senses you and your mental state. So if you get on the horse and you are scared, the horse will feel it. And if you get on the horse and you are, not calm, it will sense it, and it will make you calm, whether you like it or not. Like it will. You really have to. I have to try to unwind when I'm sitting on the horse. That's the most mindful I can be, because I know that if I don't pay attention, or if I lose myself, if I daydream, and there is like a rabbit jumps across the road or a pheasant, I can end up on the ground, and I don't want that. So to me, horse riding is just the most mindful. When I stop thinking about all the problems, because I have to, I don't think about work, I don't think about family, it's just me and the horse. And I think that's, I don't know about motorcycles, possibly, because if you don't pay attention on a motorcycle, you also can end up on the ground. So I suppose it's very similar.
You could, but I do love the idea of like taking the horse and just like being out in the field in nature and just seeing things that you're not going to see normally, like in a city, and just becoming one with the nature, feeling the horse, peace.
I do. It is. And when you say see things you wouldn't normally see, because you're sitting up high, I can see into people's gardens, and people have beautiful it's not what you would normally see. But when you're on a horse, you see so much more, and like there's so much more beauty than what you see while walking, It's just, horses are my thing.
I love it. And then let's talk about your talks that we sort of skimmed over in the beginning. I know you did a talk called Functions Are Fun, I think was the title. Is that right?
PHP functions. Fun with PHP functions, yeah.
Fun with PHP functions, yes.
Yeah.
So what, out of that entire talk, what is your favorite fun PHP function?
Oh, okay, hold on.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm gonna put you on the
Yeah,
spot.
you did. The most fun or the most useful?
No, fun, just fun.
Fun. I'm going in my mind. I'm going through all the functions, like trying to see my slides. So fun was the soundex. So Levenstein function and the soundex function. Probably the soundex one, because it was interesting to see how initially when I said so soundex, what it does, it gives you the soundex key of a word, whether so you can compare two words based on how they sound. And when I first read the description, I was like, how does it do that? Like, what? How does it do that? And, I think it might be not so much soundex, but metaphone. Oh, which one is the one that does it better? I think metaphone does it better. See, I didn't prepare. Don't hold me to it. I need to review my slides. But one of them will compare. Shall I Google it? You Google it.
No. Well, no, I wanted the other one you said, Levenstein. Is that the one that does the
distance?
The coordinates? Yeah.
No, the distance. So
areas.
So it will measure how many single line or single character changes do you have to do to turn one word into another, which again in my head didn't make any sense, because I was asked about during an interview I was asked how would you measure distance between two words. I was like, what do you mean distance? Like on a page? Like what do you mean distance? But what it means is like distance, like how many single character changes or it takes to get it from one word to another. So from what are the examples I used? I don't even know. Kitten and smitten. So kitten and smitten, you change kitten. I can't view it. 2 characters, I think.
Yeah.
I would have to
think
write
so.
it down.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking like
distance.
and sand. It would just be one, right?
Oh, that's much easier example. Let's go with that. So that's 1. So the distance is 1 because that's what it takes to either change a character or add or delete. So that's what it does. And again, I have no idea, like, how is it being used? I mean, I know it's being used, but... So that was a function that I'm glad that I kind of understand better now. But then the soundex, I don't know which one it was, whether the soundex or metaphone. One of them is more accurate than the other. I think the metaphone is probably more accurate than the soundex. And when I initially didn't understand at all, like, how could it possibly work? But then I looked at the implementation of the function, which is written in C. And not only I could understand it, even though I don't know any C, but at the end of the day, once you know what a for statement or for loop, if statement, what these are, or cases, you will understand. And I read it, and it's actually very simple. Like, somebody did go into a lot of trouble to figure it out, but the implementation is very simple. So that was fun for me to learn about. It made me feel really clever in that moment when I could understand the implementation. So probably this. But one of the, obviously all the calendar functions, that are weird. But what I'd like to know, the one with how many time zones are there in PHP. Did you watch any of my talks? You did in London. Do you remember how many time zones are in PHP?
1,000.
No. Was it 418, I think. Was it? See, you should have warned me. I should have gone over my notes. Because things go in and then things go out when I don't need them. But yeah, it's just the whole process of preparing this talk was really interesting because it exposed me to so many functions that I had no idea existed and made PHP so much more fun because you just go beyond the same number of functions that you use every day, all day. And then you realize, oh, look, there's so many other ones and really fun.
So one interesting thing you brought up right there was you went to the actual core PHP C file. I have worked with PHP for, I don't know, 15 years now. No, longer than that. 20 years now, 25 years now. Anyway, I've never, ever looked at an internal PHP file. Is that something
I don't even know how I
do?
found it.
Yeah,
I don't even know how did I get it. It is on GitHub, but it wasn't easy to find. I don't even know how I found it, but I did find it. Yeah, it's all on GitHub, but you have to find it somehow. Yeah.
That's got to be the weirdest thing about PHP, in my opinion, is like we use PHP and we write PHP, but like there's this other thing that actually runs it, and I have absolutely no clue how any of that stuff works. So one day maybe we should learn that.
Yeah, it's especially when you're working with function and you don't quite understand how it works. or you feel intimidated out of, or like, you know, some of the functions like what is first, haystack or needle or haystack, and all these inconsistencies across the language. But when you look at the implementation, it just makes it much clearer, in my head at least. And I'm not going to remember it. I don't remember how it's implemented. I just know that if I look at it again, I will understand. And that's all I need to know. Like, I don't need to remember or memorize it. I just need to know that it's not that hard. And it's not magical, because a lot of the things in not just PHP, in programming in general, it just all looks very magical. Like, oh, something happens and we write those few lines of code and then you've got a website as if by magic. And nothing is really magic. And I think that helps me personally, because I was intimidated, or I still am, but by so many things. Servers, for example. For so long, servers were this black box of magic did not want to touch. When at the end of the day, server is just a computer, just not on your desk somewhere else. The terminal is the same everywhere. As long as you learn a few terminal, you know, like how to use a terminal, you can use it on the server. And I have my website runs on DigitalOcean, and I know I could pay for Forge or something to hide the implementation and just set things up with a click of a button. But I like to punish myself. No, I like to learn. And then I do it the hard way, because it gives me such a satisfaction to know that I figured it out. And when something breaks, I panic, but then I panic less and less as the time goes on. I still panic every single time I get an error when I try to update something and, oh, my website is down, I don't know what I did. But now I know that I can figure it out. And the feeling is just amazing. So for that reason only, I would recommend people do it the hard way and then go do it the easy way. But do it the hard way first, so you understand what the easy way hides away from you. Why is it valuable? Only for the learning aspect of it.
Yeah. Well,
I'm like this forever child.
Do you like puzzles?
Always learning. Not really.
Really? I assumed, based on everything you're saying, that you would just like love solving puzzles and trying to.
I get
like,
really. I can't do like. I don't like when PlayStation games. So my family, they all play PlayStation games except for me, and they have tried. They tried to get me into it, and I wanted to because I like the idea of getting lost in a game. But I just, first of all, don't have the hand-eye coordination. I can't look at the screen and manage what happens with my hands. Because then every fight I die, because instead of looking what's going on the screen, I look at my fingers thinking, what do I have to press? So that doesn't work. So I can't play any fighting games. But then, so they try to get me into puzzle games. And I get so bored. I just don't like, if it's not real, I don't know. From puzzles, I do Sudoku. That's probably the only thing I like. But I don't like any other. Which is why it's surprising why I like coding. Because I know it's all very analytical and problem solving. And I like to solve problems with code, but probably just with code. So weird.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Very
but
typical.
I'm sort of the same way. Like, I like the certain puzzles, like tower defense games. I love those. But like, when I play games where I have to go like fight people, like Call of Duty or something, I'll play against the computer because I know I can actually win that, and I won't play against real people because they'll just murder me instantly. So like, so I guess it's sort of the same vibes. But I don't do Sudoku at all. Like I just don't understand that game.
Oh, that's again. I think it's once you get it, you really get it. It takes, for me, it took a while to. I mean, I got the rules on a paper. So the rules I got, but when it then came to playing it well, it took some time for me to like see it. So when you've got some apps, you can get hints, and I often use the hints not because I don't know what to do, but because the hints tell you how to look at problem differently. So I like that with Sudoku. And with code, I think that's controversial because not many people think of it coding as creative, but I think coding is very creative activity. Yes, you're solving problems, but you can be so creative in how you solve the problems. And so I think that's why I like. So I'm less of a problem solver, more of a creative person. So I think that's why I like coding, because to me it's creative. It's like you making something out of nothing, out of few characters. So that's a creative thing. And even when you've got a problem to solve, it's a creative activity. Like what's the problem? How can you approach it? So I like that. I don't like just problem solving for the sake of it. You know, when you've got those hackathons or the advent of code, these things, I can't do that. I just can't think like that. I like to solve actual problems and not made up problems. That to me, no interest whatsoever.
Yeah. I'm actually sort of the same way. I love the creativity aspect of development more than I like thinking about the problem and then trying to come up with solutions to the problem. To me, that's
Yes.
like enjoyable. But then
Yes.
it's like, okay, well, I figured this out, but now I need to go do it. It's like, eh, maybe AI can just do this for me because I've already figured out what I want to do.
Yeah. I think coding is creative, and I know it's people think you have to be analytical to be a good developer, and probably, and those people have their place, but you can also be creative, and I think those people also have their place in the industry, because you need to be creative to come up with new solutions, and that's how the industry moves forward, by people coming up with new solutions to existing problems, because I think the problems are all the same all the time. Like, we don't have that many new problems, but the solutions keep evolving, and for that you need to be creative. So if we were just analytical, just trying to solve a problem without looking outside of the box, I don't think it would have moved the industry forward as much as it has. So I think creative people are needed. I am needed.
Yeah,
I am
you are.
valued.
Sort of off the subject, but you don't.
Yeah.
Y'all don't do baseball at all over there, right? I know we went to a baseball
people
game
do.
together. Okay. Well, did you see?
I have to
the
think of which
news?
one is baseball.
So we went to the minor league baseball game in Tennessee, or in
Nashville.
Tennessee, I think. Yeah, Nashville.
Yeah.
But so, they've had the same bat for, 150 years. I don't know if you've seen the news that some guy created a brand new bat, and it like moves. It's still within the rules, but it moves where the thickness of the bat is so they can hit better, all this stuff.
Oh, wow.
And it just reminds me of what you were just talking about. It's like the bat's been there for 130 years and it's had absolutely no improvements. And then all of a sudden one day somebody just thought about the problem from a different angle, and now they have these brand new bats and they're hitting home runs or whatever. And I'm like, it's pretty neat how we can progress and get smarter as we think about things differently. So,
Yeah. Just embrace the creativity.
yes. That was a fun game though. We had fun with there
I
was a whole
loved
crew
it.
of
It
us
was
there.
My first ever game. I was, again, learning experience, that's for sure. But it was fun. Thank you for taking me around, because that made the whole stay so much more enjoyable. Went to my breakfast and the game, and so many firsts. It was fun.
Yes, it will go down in history as the best Laracon, right?
Yeah, well, so far, yeah. Well, Laracon US, well, it's the best and the only one for me so far. So so
Are
far
you
it's
coming
good.
this year?
I don't know. It's just, without getting political,
It's
it's
that's
a little
true.
bit scary at the moment, and I don't know if I want to do that.
Understood. But you'll go to let's see, Laravel Live London is coming up
Yes,
next month, I think.
I think it's June, isn't it? June?
Yeah,
I need to check
1st
the-
of June. That's right. Yeah, 1st of June.
Yeah.
And then
Is
EU's
it
already
first?
happened.
I know it's in June, but I don't think it's the first. But it's
No,
sometime
no.
in June.
Yeah, just in the beginning. I think before the
Yeah.
14th. That's how I say it's the 1st of June if it's before the 14th.
Yeah, I want to go there, because London, to me, it's a local place. It's not far. I don't have to fly, which is a bonus. And the 2 times I went there, the weather was always very good, which is surprising. You can never know it in England, But the 2 years I went to Laravel Live, the weather was great, the food was great, the people were great. I mean, yeah, I'm going back. Are you coming?
Awesome. No, not this year. I can only do so many. That was my second time ever going to Europe, and that's just the flight is so long. Like I need to stay longer. Like I want to bring the wife and do like a whole vacation around it next time. But we'll get there. My youngest is 15 years old, so she'll get her driver's license next year, and then after that, we're hoping we can do like the whole Laracon circuit, go to the AU and visit Australia, and go to EU and visit Amsterdam. So we're hoping we get to go do all that.
So much fun. You'll do what do they call it when you catch them all the conferences? There's a name to it. People call it like the, I don't know.
The Grand Slam?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Baseball
do
term.
that.
Baseball term.
Yeah, there you go. It would be fun.
That'll be awesome. Yeah, I'll have to let you introduce you to my wife, because I don't think you've ever got to meet her. She don't come to the conferences. I leave her behind, and she don't like to Laravel. So
Is she not a developer yet?
not
Just
at
bring
all.
her. Not yet.
Not at
Just,
all.
everyone had to start somewhere. Just bring her over. I'll take care of it. It's fine.
I like this. I like this. You can teach her. I'll have you be her tutor and show her how to do it.
I'll be happy to. I will talk about you behind your back. It will be all good. It'll be fun.
I'm used to that. It's fine. It's fine.
Only good things. Only good things.
Well, Zuzana, did I miss anything that you want to bring up while we're here on the podcast, or anything
the only thing
you want to highlight?
Yeah. Well, if people can or are able to, if they could sponsor us as well financially, so that's the other thing that I should have mentioned, didn't, is that we are a non-profit and we basically run on sponsorships and on donations. And a lot of companies have been so gracious, they donated things to us, so like the servers and things like a lot of licenses are donated to us, which is amazing. But there are still costs associated with running Larabelles. And we are, although non-profit, I still have to pay taxes on all the income, so accountant and all that. Plus, the money we receive, we go give back to the community. So we tend to do giveaways for every conference and send people to Laracons or Laravel Lives, that we get a ticket and pay for accommodation and travel for at least one person for every conference. At least that's what we try to do. So the money will be well spent if you decide to support us, please. And so if you could. And also I have just very recently, as in like a few days ago, left my job because I want to focus more on Larabelles. Because Laravells have been around for almost 5 years, and I've never really had proper time to spend on it. It was always weekends and evenings and whenever I had a moment, and I want to give it more now. And I thought, if I don't try, I will never know. So I've decided to try. So I left my job to focus on Larabelles, to give it much more time. And ideally, if we get more sponsorships, maybe I could pay myself some small, not salary, that's a big word, not salary, like some amount of money to support me financially. So that's I should have started with that, saying, "Oh, I left my job. Please sponsor us so I can feed my children." No, I thought I wanted to try to do that and see what I can do, and not only react to things that need doing, which is the way it's been so far. I want to be more proactive and actually think and plan and see where I can take the community beyond of what we already do. So that's a big thing.
That's awesome. I love that.
Thank you.
It's always sort of scary when you sort of jump out. I know I did it with Laravel News last
I
year.
thought
before,
about you.
and
you did the same
like,
thing, didn't you? You left your job to focus on Laravel News. And I thought of you when that thought crossed my mind initially. I was like, oh, don't be stupid. Why would you, leave your job? What will you do? And I was like, well, he did it. Eric did it. And I think you're doing well, right? Are you happy with your decision?
I was so happy. I get to play a little bit more golf every week, and I'll
get to ride more horses. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, see, you marry them together. So you ride your horse and you think about business, just like you play golf and you don't think about business, but you talk to friends, I guess. It's but for me, it's been great. Like, my whole goal is like, as long as I can support my wife and family, then I'm going to keep doing it this way. But, if it ever comes to the thing where it just fails and like whatever, then I'll just hopefully be hireable again at that point and go a different direction. But I'm going to do it as long as I can, just because I love it so much. And it's amazing how much more time you get when you do something like this. It's like now I can spend 4 hours thinking about something that's going to move the needle in a better direction. Where before it's like you get home from work, you get kids, and then it's like 10 o'clock at night. You're like, I'm really tired. I got to go to bed, but I really want to think about this other thing. And then now I'm up at 2 a.m. So anyway, for me, it's been really good so far. So I'm really happy and hope it continues.
Yeah, same. I'm thinking the same way. If it doesn't work out, I'll go and get a job. I mean, I hope the job that I just left, we left on good terms. They know why I'd left, and they understood that I had to try. So I hope that I will still be hireable if I decide that this isn't working out. But if I didn't do it, I would have always wondered. Like you said, now I will have the time to actually think about the things that I can do, that the community can do. I can hopefully give more back to the community rather than just quickly, oh, there's a Laracon coming up really quickly, let's do a giveaway. Often a little bit too late. So I want to do it right. I want to see if I can do it better. So I
love it. I love it.
Try.
And
you've done it, so.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I'm always, my door's always open. So if you ever need anything, just ping me and we will be glad to have a discussion.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I think we're running a little long, so we're gonna close this out. So, Zuzana, everyone, go to Larabelles if you can. Sponsor, help her out.
Thank you
so much. Find them at conferences. Say hello. Go to what else? What's your social media now that you prefer out of anything? Blue Sky?
We still have, we've got still Twitter and Blue Sky. So Larabelles, PHP on both.
All right. And what's your personal one on both?
You want me to say that? It's like my name.
Oh, okay.
Although on Blue Sky,
Blue Sky is
Zuzana. Yeah, it will be. Well, that's Twitter, because Twitter I have the full name, Zuzana, and I think it's _ Kunskova. That's how you say my surname, Kunskova. Very good. On Blue Sky, because it allows to have the domain. So on Blue Sky, I've got Zuzana-K.com. So that's much easier. And yeah, that's the other thing that I want to do now. I want to do more Larabelles, like social media work for Larabelles, because again, that was one of the things that I just didn't have the space or energy for. So that completely slid sideways. So yeah. Find us on social media. Sign up to our newsletter, which is very infrequent, I have to say. But that's another thing on my list that I'm going to focus on now. See, I've got a list of things that I can finally focus on. We also currently doing the giveaway for Laracon US in a collaboration with Oh, goodness. Let me just read it out loud so I don't make a mistake. So we are doing a giveaway for Laracon US. We are giving away 2 tickets in collaboration with Moonbase Labs.
Oh, nice.
And the tickets, it will be, so we will give away a ticket as well as some financial support for accommodation and travel to the conference. So please enter only if you are eligible, please. And we do check. So by eligible, I mean, okay, this is going to be so politically incorrect. I don't know how to say it nicely, but if you're a man, please don't apply. How can I say it so it's not politically incorrect? I don't know.
Is there politically? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I guess some people get offended. I'm not the.
Please don't. I don't mean to.
Yeah, I don't
and
know.
But I had people saying, "What about the man? Why men can't have their own community? Please create one." I'm not nobody says you shouldn't. It's just Larabelles is not for you. Larabelles is for somebody else. But you go ahead and create your own community and do giveaways. I'll be supporting you and I'll be giving you shout outs. Please do. But that's not who Larabelles is for. So Larabelles is for the people who don't identify as man. So these people, please enter the giveaway and hopefully you'll get a free ticket and travel and accommodation. Come on, why won't you apply?
Yeah, I love it.
Right?
That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you again for taking the time out of your day to come and talk to us, because you've been on my list since I've started this series. So I finally got you on. I'm happy about it. And
thank you for having me.
always a pleasure.
Yeah, it was so much fun. And I